The North Carolina State Elections Board's cavalier attitude toward illegally transmitted ballots should be corrected. That's the headline of a recent research brief from the John Locke Foundation. Its author is Dr. Andy Jackson, director of the Civitas Center for Public Integrity. And you basically are looking into a rule involving who can deliver absentee ballots and the fact that what the law says and what's actually happening don't seem to be matching up.
Right. Well, the law says that if a ballot is taken in person to a Board of Elections location, then the only person that can do that is the voter, him or herself, or a near relative. You're looking at parents, children, spouses, that sort of thing. Now, what the state board has interpreted, and if it's not, I should step back, and if it's not, then, well, it's actually a felony. If you're not the voter or a near relative of the voter transmitting a ballot is a felony under North Carolina law. The State Board of Elections has interpreted that to mean that, well, yes, it was illegally transmitted, but that doesn't really have any reflection on the status of the ballot itself. So they have instructed county boards that they would still accept those ballots, no questions asked, even if they don't know how the ballot got there, or even if they know for a fact that the person taking the ballot there is not a near relative of the voter or the voter him or herself.
Just to clarify, we are talking about ballots that are not in-person voting, that would be on early voting day or day of the election, not ballots that are mailed back, but these are ballots that are somehow delivered. Only the person or a near relative is allowed to do this. I guess this has to do with trying to block ballot harvesting.
Right, and this is part of that, and part of it is just knowing, where the ballots come from. I mean, at least with mailed ballots, you've got some trail, through the mail stream and that sort of thing. The thing to remember is, for example, last year we had about 1.5 million absentee ballots by mail requested. Now, almost a third of those were never returned, or never voted, I should say, including about 11% of those that are just essentially lost. They weren't submitted, they weren't spoiled, they're out there. And it's really important to know that just because a ballot shows up at a Board of Elections, that doesn't necessarily prove intent on the part of the voter that they wanted that ballot sent in. And that's part of the issue there, is that you're making an assumption where in reality, in about a third of the case with these mail ballots, it's not the intent of the voter in real life to have their ballot sent in. So we can't make that assumption when ballots just show up at a Board of Elections site.
Looking into this, you contacted a number of local county boards of elections to find out just how they actually handle this, given the fact that what the law says and what the state board of elections is telling them is not quite the same thing.
Right. I randomly selected a dozen counties and emailed them, and it was nice. 10 of them emailed me back. It took them a couple of weeks in a couple of cases, but it's still very nice for them to do that. About half of them reported that they had there was no temptation. They were very strict about logging in ballots, so there's never an opportunity for people to illegally submit a ballot. A couple of other counties said that they had received and accepted less than 5, so it's not a lot there. There's only one county that reported that they had received or didn't have logs for, more than 5, and that's New Hanover County, where they had about 3 dozen ballots that they did not have any log records for, and the situation for those varied widely on there.
Now, given those numbers, nothing from what you looked into suggested that there are tens of thousands of ballots coming in here that would sway a major election one way or the other. But still, there are some ballots out there that are coming in that don't seem to be following the letter of the law. So you suggest in this research brief that someone, whether it's the State Board of Elections, the General Assembly, or both, needs to do something to clarify this.
Right. I think the easiest fix would be for the State Board of Elections to adjust its instructions to the county boards so that if they receive a ballot, they don't know how it got there, where it come from, or they knew it was transmitted illegally, to at least make an inquiry to the voter to follow up on that. Essentially, something along the lines of a provisional ballot situation where they could at least attempt to verify that this was in fact the intent of the voter to have this ballot submitted. I think that would be a minimal standard. If you want to be strict on the law, you would say, well, a ballot was transmitted illegally, you're just not going to count it. I think that there is a way to kind of thread the needle on that because you don't want to take away somebody's vote unnecessarily, but you got to make sure that it was really the intent of the voter to have that ballot submitted. And I think the state board is well within its ability to do that. However, if the state board fails, like if we go another election cycle where the state board has this same basic program and instructions to the county boards, which, by the way, the county boards don't always follow, I discovered. The county boards tend to be a little stricter than the state board on this matter. Then maybe in the next cycle, the General Assembly should take a look at it.
The title of the research brief at johnlocke.org, once again, Election Board's Cavalier Attitude Toward Illegally Transmitted Ballots Should Be Corrected. Its author is Dr. Andy Jackson. He is the director of the Civitas Center for Public Integrity at the John Locke Foundation. Thanks so much.
Thank you.